Hello and welcome to Vox Markets. Today I'm joined by Martin Higginson, who's CEO at Immotion. How are you today, Martin?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for having me on.
Right, you're just looking at the sort of the stats and the figures and the performance of your company over the last couple of years, and things are looking good, but we'll touch on that later. For people who are not familiar with iMotion or Immotion, what's your company do?
Yeah, Immotion specializes in really delivering immersive entertainment, whether that be in locations or in people's homes. So on the location front, we're dealing with partners such as Merlin, MGM, and a number of other sort of leading zoos and aquariums. And on the home front, we're trying to develop a product that people can really just experience VR videos in the comfort of their own living rooms.
So that explains why your revenues have jumped quite spectacularly from 2019, 2.8 million to an expected 9 million this year. You're not been affected by the pandemic. In fact, you're, I suppose, in a way, a bit of a pandemic play. Is that right?
Well, look, in the throes of the pandemic, we went from sort of hero to zero. We had a number of sites that were due to open. Our main business at that point was really in the locations, and what we decided to do was launch the in-home product to sort of give us a much more balanced feel to the business. And obviously, as sites have opened up following the sort of the restrictions, we've seen those revenues increase, and we've seen our in-home stuff increase as well.
And the other thing which maybe stands out as well is the American angle. A lot of UK companies have difficulty in that area. It could be an elephant's graveyard, but what are the prospects there?
Look, we were very fortunate, and we have an office in LA. One of my colleagues and board directors, a chap called Rod Findlay, sits in LA. So we've actually got a native on the ground there, which I think makes such a big difference. And the US market makes up the majority of our location-based entertainment revenues, with some great partners, people like MGM, some leading zoos, and obviously a lot of the Merlin sites throughout the States. So we're very, very pleased with growth in the US, and we see that continuing into 2022.
I mean, would you also expect, is the balance going to change from the UK to US, or is it going to be sort of 50-50, or how do you see that moving?
No, I think it's much more than 50-50. It's stacked very much in favor of the US at the moment, and we see that just increasing. If we look at the zoo market in the US, the amount of zoos with over 1 million footfall in the US is far greater than it is in the UK. So it makes sense that we focus our efforts there. We've got most of the inquiries coming out of the US. And obviously there's less sort of impact with sort of COVID-related restrictions in the US. So I think all in all, to focus in on that market is the right thing to be doing, certainly in the sort of first half of 2022.
So I've got it written here that the home-based entertainment business, the sales are going very strong. Amazon sales have increased as well. Is there any part of the business which is you'd like to sort of go better, or is it just firing on all cylinders at the moment?
Well, look, we're very pleased with the way sales have gone. We've had horrendous sort of logistical nightmares with the home-based stuff, which has been a real challenge. Obviously, like many businesses, we try and get stock around the world just in time. This year, it's been very, very challenging, and that has cost us money. We've had stuff stuck in the port of LA for nearly 9 weeks when we expected it to be on the road. We've had stuff that's cleared the port, has been sat in a container. We've actually been able to physically see the container, but not been able to pick it up due to sort of not being able to get lorry drivers or not clearing the sort of final bit of the customs hurdle. So I think all of those things have impacted us, but we certainly learned from it. The amount of sales that we've done has been considerable, certainly significantly up on last year, threefold up on 2020. So we know that there is demand there for home-based entertainment. We know as restrictions have lifted, there's massive demand for sort of the out-of-home stuff. So all in all, we're very pleased with where we are. Could things have gone better? Of course they could. But I think to have gone from sort of 2.8 to 9 million of revenues in a year, is a real milestone for us. And as I said, we've learned a lot. And as we go into 2022, we go into next year with that renewed sort of knowledge.
And I mean, the you have that jump in performance, the revenues. Does your company have the capacity, if the business really gets stronger over the next year? Do you have the capacity to handle more business?
Yeah, look, we've planned for sort of some more hires in our location-based division, and those hires will be in the US. So we'll put in people like project managers and performance managers to really drive our locations. We believe that we can get more out of the locations that we've got, and we believe that we can install a decent number of sort of headsets in H1 next year. But as our business model moves much more to being sort of theatre style installations, in other words, bigger installations into zoos and aquariums, then we need a seasoned project manager, because not only do we put sort of more seats in, 24, 36 seats, we often do a pre-show, and in some cases in the zoo environment, we will actually be building a sort of building for them in which this will sit. So I think all in all, a couple of new hires, but in terms of costs, that's going to be marginal, and in terms of the revenue potential, that will be substantial.
And just finally, it's one of my favorite subjects, the disconnect between UK tech companies or new economy companies valuations and in the US. You've got a decent foothold in the US. Do you think that there's going to be a sort of a US style re-rate of your 20 million market cap over the foreseeable future?
No, I think that we've come through a period of great uncertainty, certainly in terms of locations and things. And I think as we're now proving that, one, our revenues are much more US centric and therefore less subject to the sort of vagaries of sort of UK sort of scaremongery or lockdowns or whatever you want to call it. I think that will hopefully come through in the price. I also think as we look at our home-based product, we've got the new product, Vodiac, which is launching. We're very, very excited about that. We know there's a demand for home-based entertainment. As we look at what we've done with Let's Explore, it's a £79, $100 plus product. What we realized is if we could get a product that was 30 quid or sub $40, then we could actually get something out there to the masses. We also realized if we could develop a much broader church, then that's something that could appeal sort of throughout the whole year. So I think we are excited about that. I think there will be a lot of hype as we start developing our own sort of VR video channels. We've got 7 channels on the Vodiac platform. I think that will help us. So I think the combination of the two things, and then underneath all of that, obviously you've got sort of Uvisan, which we've developed this sort of sterilization cabinets, the UVC sterilization cabinets that help people cleanse, predominantly VR headsets, that's becoming our sort of driving market. And that's something that's growing all the time. So if you look at, even people like Walmart are saying that they're going to have 17,000 headsets in the next few years, on which they'll train staff, and all of those headsets will need cleansing. So we're seeing, big orders coming through in that division, and I think that just helps underpin, hopefully a sort of fairly balanced scorecard in terms of the overall business.
Okay, well, congratulations on a good year, and hopefully a better year next year. Martin Higginson, CEO at Immotion. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks very much indeed.